Good morning, everybody. I will not be in your class today. I am out at a meeting. Hopefully you're not cheering right now. Ms. Perez will take good care of you. I'll be back. I'll be back on campus around 10:30. And so for those of you who do have Algebra 1 later today, you are stuck with me. The stuff that we've been doing with greatest common factor and least common multiple is very important because it's some of the basic fundamentals of math working with numbers. And so you're going to spend one more day getting some work on that, okay? And I always want to do an example for you. The way that I do it is not the only way to do it, but I believe it's a very effective way. So I always take the two numbers and I just write them next to each other with the big, long L surrounding them. And then I pick a number, and I usually pick the smallest number that goes into both of those. The smallest number that I know that goes into both of these is 2. 2 goes into 20 10 times. 2 goes into 32 16 times. And then again, I try and pick the smallest number that goes into both of those. The smallest number that goes into both of those is 2. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 goes into 16 8 times. And the only number that goes into both of those is 1. And when we get to a point where the only number is 1, we're finished. Okay? So the greatest common factor, the biggest number that can divide into 20 and 32, the biggest number that can divide into that is the multiplication of all the numbers on the left. Okay, so 2 times 2 equals 4, that's the greatest common factor. That's the biggest number that can, 4 is the biggest number that can divide into 20 and 32. Okay, well 10 can divide into 20, but it can't divide into 32. And 8 can divide into 32, but it can't divide into 20. 4 is the biggest number that can divide into both of them. That's why it's common. That's why it's a common factor. For the least common multiple, we just multiply diagonally. Now, we've been working on some different ways to get you to do multiplication. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of doing 20 times 8 like this, 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 2 is 16, the answer is 160. Instead of doing that, I just want you to do this. 8 times 2, 16, add a 0. Okay, I want you to be able to start doing some of the math in your head. Let's look at this one. 32 times 5. What if we do this? 32 times 5 is the same as 30 times 5 plus 2 times 5. Okay, here's 30 and here's 2. Here's 30 and here's 2. Now we can do this in our head. 5 times 3, 15. Add the 0. 2 times 5, 10. 160. So our least common multiple is 160. Oops, LCM, sorry about that. Okay, So Ms. Perez, at this point, would you please pause the video, allow them to work on the greatest common factor and least common multiple problems, and when the entire group is finished with those, go ahead and restart the video so that you can go to the second part. Okay, go ahead and pause now. So the second part of the video is going to be something that we've done before, and is also going to be something that's going to help us out with what we're doing in our regular algebra classes. So we got to fill in so the numbers multiply to get top number and add or subtract to get bottom number. That's what we're trying to do here. We got to fill in the empty spots, so the numbers that we fill in multiply to get the top number and add or subtract to get the bottom number. So looking at the first one, we got 21. Well, 21 is either 21 times 1 or 7 times 3. And that's all I know. Well, I know other things, but that's all I know about 21. So if I do 21 times 1, there's no way I can get 10. No way. So it can't be that. Which means I got to do 7 and 3. 7 times 3 is 21. But now how do I get negative 10? How do I get negative 10? Well, I would do negative 7 and negative 3. Negative 7 and negative 3 is negative 10. And a negative times a negative is a... I didn't hear you say anything. Let's try that again. A negative times a negative is a positive. That's right. So I'm good. Okay, I'm good over there. Let's check the next one. So, 24, let's see, 24 can either be 24 times 1, but that can't give me 2. 24 minus 1 doesn't give me 2. 12 times 2, but that can't give me 2. 8 times 3, we're getting closer. 8 and 3 could give me 5, but it couldn't give me 2. 6 and 4 could give me 2. Okay. So if I have negative 24, that means either the 6 or the 4 has to be negative. But in order to get 2, the 6 has to be positive, because 6 minus 4 equals 2, and 6 times negative 4 equals negative 24. And that works. Okay, last one. 16 is 16 times 1, 8 times 2, and 4 times 4. Which one is it? You guys are so smart. 8 and 2. And are they both positive? Yes, they sure are. Okay, Ms. Perez, that's the end of the video. If you could please stop it and pass out the worksheet for these, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.